Few people to get in the chat. I'm late because there's some type of disturbance going on in my neighborhood. It sounds like thunder, but then it sounds like I thought someone was beating on someone's door, but it's like the same pattern, like every 5 seconds or so. And it's like 9 o'clock at night, so it shouldn't be any type of digging or explosion. And I say all that to say because Tuesday night, this video is a continuation of Tuesday night. One of the people in the chat was like, because I had technical difficulties Tuesday night, and now this is going on. And he was like, sometimes things like that happen because you're not meant to someone is trying to prevent you, someone or something is trying to prevent you from giving the information. I have no idea what that is. And I looked out the door and I thought it was someone beating on someone's door. I don't know. I don't know what it is. So, but let's get started, guys. Gonna see if anyone is in the chat. And I sent some um invitations to you all. But yeah, so tonight is a continuation of the discussion we were having Tuesday night. So let me introduce myself. My name is Miss Kisa. And if you like true crime, the unexplained, the paranormal, I tell you stories at night that will have you sleeping with your nightlight. So that's what this channel is about. And this is a continuation of a discussion we had Tuesday. It was a live, and we were talking about a video that I created 2 years ago. We discussed it. The topic was Ramon Watkins, aka Prophet Yahweh. He was an African American man that has video proof of him summoning UFOs. And to give you all an update on that, I was contacted by someone on YouTube, not YouTube, goodness, on Instagram. And he was telling me how, can y'all, I got a new mic, and so I'm a little, okay, you can. So, but anyway, this he's an Instagram follower. We follow each other, and he was telling me how he can summon UFOs, and he explained it like it's just really simple. He hasn't done it recently, but he told me a technique that I could do to see if I could do it. I don't know. But I definitely would like to have him on a live discussion, and I would definitely like to go out at night with him to like see it firsthand. So hopefully that's something that's in the work. But today's story is a continuation about that. There is a theory, and this is a question that someone had from Tuesday, was the relation to seeing UFOs or summoning UFOs with frequency, right? So let's get into it. So first we're going to talk about what is frequency. I'm a little bit more um, organized today. So, frequencies are, and I have new software as well. So, frequency is a measure of how often something repeats itself in a given amount of time. It is commonly used to describe the rate of waves, oscillations, or repeating events, and is measured in hertz, where 1 hertz means 1 cycle per second. And from my understanding, the lower the number, the lower the frequency. Of course, the higher the number, the higher the frequency. And so when we talk about, in a spiritual sense, I hope y'all saw that. Yeah, so when we talk about frequency in the spiritual sense, we're talking about being more godlike. The higher your frequency, the more um, the more godlike you're supposed to be. So let's get into this. And then I have some videos that I want to show you as well. Um, it's a chart that I forgot what it's called. Feel free to. This noise is getting really loud. You know what it sounds like, y'all? It sounds like a bomb, but it's like it's like 8 to 10 seconds now. Okay, here it is, the chart of emotions. This is not really what I was looking for. Hold on. Class, I should have been more prepared. Here we go. So, on a spiritual, to get even more deep on a spiritual level, when we talk about frequencies, like I said, the higher the frequency. So, tonight we're talking about Tesla and the significance of the 963 hertz frequency, which some believe this particular frequency can, if you meditate to this, you'll be able to summon extraterrestrial life, UFOs. So, when we talk about our own personal frequencies, this is what I want you all to understand. Here, right here. Okay. So, this is your map of consciousness. This is talking about your emotional frequency. So, your thoughts and your emotions create your frequency. So, the highest, and like I said, 963 is included in this range, is the frequency of enlightenment. Um, I feel like this is a higher, because when we talk about frequencies, we talk about how we feel, how happy or how sad we feel, our emotions. So when you've reached, and this is just based on my observation and my personal experience, when you reach this, you're unbothered. And you're unbothered from, you're at peace. You don't need anything. You don't want anything. You don't long for anyone. You are totally detached from anything negative. You are detached from a lack mindset or a feeling of being inadequate or not having enough or not being totally comfortable and content. This is what this frequency feels like. And then we go all the way to the bottom. And shame is the most lowest vibration that you can ever have. Shame feels like humiliation. Shame feels like someone being miserable. Shame feels like you could want to eliminate yourself. This is about self harm. This is about despising someone or something. This is the lowest frequency. And a lot of disease, a lot of mental anguish, a lot of just being miserable and unhappy lives in this range. And if you want to go even deeper, you can manifest on that bottom level. of shame. Okay. Um, and also, just to go a step further, this should make, in my opinion, this should make you want to be careful about, especially when it comes to childhood trauma. A lot of our childhood trauma, I know for me, it was um, grounded in shame, grounded in guilt, grounded in grief, fear. And if you don't learn how to release these feelings on a subconscious level through therapy, through any type of like holistic way, then it can like get in the way of getting your heart's desire. So I found this video um about, it's from Dr. Stephen Greer. I couldn't remember his name on Tuesday. But I found this video he did. Hold on, yeah, I'm doing all my business in front of y'all. Hold on. Okay, so let me go to the next. Okay, Dr. Stephen Greer. I don't see many of y'all in the chat. I said I was gonna come back tonight to finish the discussion. I don't see anyone yet. Hold on, y'all. I'm a little discombobulated. Let me get it together. So this is a video from Dr. Stephen Greer. He is a world-renowned expert when it comes to UFOs. I think now they call them UAPs, aliens, that whole um genre of stuff. So let's see what this video is talking about. I hope I don't get a copyright strike. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know. So we just gonna go with it. That sound is still outside and it's starting to creep me out. Okay, so this is Dr. Stephen Greer, and he is talking about um, tonight's topic. He hints on it. So let's check it out.
I'm gonna ask you one of the most basic questions, just because I want to know. Have you personally you ever had contact? Well, let me rephrase that. Have you ever?
You know what, y'all? I'm gonna tell y'all how slow I am. That's fireworks, but it's like every child anyway. See, Mercury and Virgo. I told y'all it's making me a little absent-minded. Anyway, I just had to share that. It's fireworks. Tomorrow's the 4th. Oh my God. Anyway.
Seen face to face an alien being?
Yes, I have. Absolutely.
How old were you?
That was the event in 1973. So I was 18. I just turned 18.
Okay, so you're old enough to know the difference between right and wrong, between fantasy and reality.
Oh, yeah.
In the 70s,
I never do any drugs. This was not on LSD in the 70s.
Okay, that's what I was about to ask you. You're coming out of the 60s.
No.
LSD.
I never touched the stuff.
Just took place. You're not on any magic mushrooms or anything at the time.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you describe?
Actually, this ET I'm talking about is probably about 4 to 5 feet tall. I didn't know what the heck was going on. And I was up on this mountain in outside Boone, North Carolina, up in the mountains. And this, at first I thought it was a deer on its hind legs looking at me. And because it had deer-like eyes. And it came over and touched my right shoulder so firmly I could see the indentation. And with that, there was an electromagnetic field. All my hair stood on. It's when I had hair, and all my hair stood on end. And it was this amazing event that happened with this being. So, it was not at all frightening to me. It was beautiful, but and I think that what the interest of that particular experience, what those ETs was a young guy, 18, who had had a near-death experience, who understood consciousness and understood the central role of what's called in physics entanglement, where everything's connected in the consciousness field, but also in physics. And so in order to understand going from a far distant star system to here, you're not going to do that in a straight line at the speed of light. You're going to do it through understanding what the physicists call non-locality, where nothing has to be fixed in space-time. And this gets into some very advanced concepts. But the ultimate non-local field is you right there. You're awake and conscious. Your conscious mind is, if you were to calm it down, that's what meditation does, and calm it down, is actually connected to this field of consciousness that's everywhere, simultaneously everywhere. This is why the CIA had a very successful project dealing with what's called remote viewing, where people would use certain techniques in consciousness and be able to see remote places. I got to know a lot of the really accomplished remote viewers who worked in that CIA program back years ago. And that program ran for 20, 30 years. People say, oh, that can't be. I said, oh, yeah, it is. It's like a seer. It's like a shaman or a seer who has the ability to see remote places or the future and with consciousness. Now, think about technologies where you're dealing with civilizations that are 100,000 or more years advanced than us, many of them. All their technologies, we're using electromagnetic system here at the speed of light, right? 186,000 miles per second. They're using technologies that are interfacing with quantum thought, sort of like really advanced, what Elon Musk is working on with Neuralink, but not with wires and stuff, but where it's a consciousness field and thought interfacing with machine. And there's been a lot of research done by various scientists in the last few decades on this, where consciousness and thought can affect a machine or a random number generator, which are a quantum machine, basically, like Dr. John did at Princeton, at the Princeton Engineering Anomalies Research Lab, the Peer Lab. People should look that up. He was brilliant. I knew him. He really understood this whole idea of the consciousness field and matter and electromagnetism and being interconnected. So when you're dealing with extraterrestrial civilizations, they have perfected that the way we have perfected a cell phone or a video call or FaceTime. So that's the other thing people have to understand. You're not dealing with your granddad's Oldsmobile here. You're dealing with some really advanced technology, which the good part of it is that a lot of those technologies, if they're brought forward, and this is why I'm here in LA for this premiere of The Lost Century and How to Reclaim It, this new documentary that just has come out. It's about all these technologies. But if those were brought out, in 10 to 20 years, we'd have a new civilization here. But they have to be brought out wisely, and they have to be brought out for peaceful applications. And a lot of them have to be held back for a while, the things that fly.
Okay, so I'm going to stop it right there. So, as continuing from the conversation, the discussion that we had on Tuesday, in the video, Ramon Watkins, aka Prophet Yahweh, was talking about this thought voice and how the theory behind that was if you can hold in your mind what you feel an extraterrestrial, a UFO, an alien would look like, if you hold that thought in your mind and, excuse me, you vibrate at a certain frequency, the theory is that you can manifest a physical object, like Dr. Greer said, or in Yahweh's case, he was able to manifest an alien being, an extraterrestrial being. So that is the thought, that frequency, vibrating at a particular frequency can give you a certain physical result. And going back to the 963 hertz frequency, that is something that I say too much. That is something that Tesla was working on. Let me see if I can get that video queued up. Feel free to leave your discussions and or questions in the comments. Let's see. And also, so going back to um the guy I was talking about earlier that contacted me on Instagram, he also mentioned this man, Ted Owens, and he went by the name the PK man. PK is psychokinesis, I believe. Psychokinetic. It's someone that has psychokinetic powers. Um and this particular man, Ted Owens, did summon UFOs. He is to There are videos and testimonies of people that said that they know that he is able to change the weather. He had that ability, and he supposedly got these abilities from someone or something extraterrestrial or spiritual that he was able to communicate with, and he could control the weather. He could summon UFOs. He had psychic abilities as well. He was able to read your mind, see what you feel, what you're thinking. So if you want to look him up, that's someone that you can go down a rabbit hole as well. Okay. So here is more of a explanation about Tesla and this magic frequency. Okay, here we go.
So now we're searching for the magic frequency. And we start with 100 hertz, and we look through the microscope to see if anything's happening. We watch for 5 minutes. Nothing happens. We try hundreds and hundreds of frequencies, if not thousands, until we find the magic combination. Because we believed there just had to be a better way. There had to be a better way. And we think we may have found it. I have here 2 identical tuning forks, both tuned to the note A, the note an orchestra tunes to. These forks are both made to vibrate 440 times per second. We say their frequency is 440 hertz. If I tap this fork, putting little pulses of energy into it, the second fork will also vibrate in sympathy. And if I silence this...
Stop. Let me stop right there. So when he mentioned 440 hertz, that is the frequency of most music. It is the middle C on a piano. That's 440 hertz. Most people will have their pianos, other instruments tuned to the frequency of 440 hertz. There is another frequency, 432 hertz, that scientists have been trying to make the standard frequency, because 432 hertz is a frequency that is very healing. It's very healing on an emotional level and a mental level. There is a particular video that I listen to when I need to heal, I need to get over something, I need to release some type of negative emotion, and it is 432 hertz. I'm a big Outkast fan, so I like to listen to music from Outkast that people have reformatted to 432 hertz. Anyway, I just wanted to throw that in there.
fork, we just may hear the other singing its tone. We say that I'm inducing a sympathetic resonant vibration in the second fork. It only works because both forks are tuned to the exact same frequency. Now, many of us have seen this very charming young man on the internet who shatters crystal glasses with his powerful voice. But if you watch him carefully, you'll see that first he taps the glass with his finger and listens. The glass sings its natural resonant pitch. Then he takes a deep breath and sings a loud, long note. He induces a resonant vibration in the crystal glass. The vibration grows larger and larger and larger until the glass is shattered. On the other end of the scale, we have a giant bridge made out of...
So when you see certain singers, certain like opera singers that can like hit a note and make a glass shatter, that's pretty much what they're doing. They'll get the frequency of the glass or the frequency, and they will sing in that frequency, and it does like this, and it can shatter the glass. So that's the theory behind that.
Concrete and steel, a suspension bridge, the Tacoma Narrows Bridge. Cars and trucks and buses are going over it every day. And unfortunately, where they built this bridge, there was a steady wind blowing across it. And one day, this wind induces a small vibration in the bridge, hardly noticeable. But the frequency of the vibration matches the resonant frequency of some part of the bridge. And the vibration gets larger and larger and larger until the bridge collapses into the river below. A destructive resonant frequency. So on one end of the scale, we have a giant concrete and steel bridge destroyed by resonance. And on the other, we have a small crystal glass shattered. So maybe we could shatter something even smaller, something really small, something you would need a microscope to see. Maybe we could shatter a living microorganism. So maybe we could change a biological living liquid crystal with a special electronic signal. But in order to do that, we would need some kind of device. So we search the US patent database, and we find this invention by a physician, Dr. James Bear of Albuquerque, New Mexico. It's called a resonant frequency therapy device, and its purpose is to induce a resonant vibration in a living organism or cell. If I put in, say, 100 hertz, out will come 100 pulses per second. If I put in 200 hertz, we'll get 200 pulses. So now we're searching for the magic frequency. And we start with 100 hertz, and we look through the microscope to see if anything's happening. We watch for 5 minutes. Nothing happens. So we try 101 hertz. We look through the scope for 5 minutes, and nothing happens. So we try 102, 103, and so on. Over the course of 15 months, we try hundreds and hundreds of frequencies, if not thousands, until we find the magic combination. The answer is you have to have two input frequencies, one low, one high, and the higher frequency must be 11 times the lower. It's what we musicians would call the 11th harmonic. When we add the 11th harmonic, we begin to shatter microorganisms like a crystal glass. These are the first videos taken. We showed these videos to our friends in the biology department. They said they hadn't seen anything quite like it. Seems to be a new phenomenon.
I am going to stop it right there. So basically, that was just a visual presentation of, let me white balance. Hold on. Anyway, that was a visual presentation of what I was telling you about. So whenever you have the same frequencies, they do this and they can shatter glass, like I said in the previous example. There's also proof that it can shatter dangerous cells in the body, like cancerous cells. And it can also improve your mood. It's also good, like if you suffer from anxiety, depression, if you're going through um, shame, guilt, fear, it's good for that. So, taking that and going back on Tuesday about Prophet Yahweh, I was telling you all that I had ran across a documentary about a religious cult leader. It was a Hebrew Israelite cult led by YahWeh Ben Yahweh. Hold on. And if you are a part of the replay game, you can always, leave your comments and questions in the comment section. So we're talking about YahWeh Ben Yahweh. So let me pull him up. Be sure you like and subscribe, share. Okay, here we go. So this is YahWeh Ben Yahweh. He is the leader of the religious cult. It's a Hebrew Israelite cult that was in Liberty City, Florida. Miami, Florida. But his name was YahWeh Ben Yahweh, which means God, Son of God. And he had a religious cult. And he is also an accused unaliver. There are a couple of cases where there were some gruesome unalivings in Liberty City, Liberty City, and these people were unalive because they were trying to leave his cult, and they were exposing or attempting to expose what was going on in this cult. Now, he was he also had a reputation of being a very positive person in the community, giving jobs, um, creating economic opportunity, economic wealth. He was about sewing into the community, into the Black community, sewing into Black businesses. That was the good, but behind the scenes, allegedly, there was a lot of control. There was a lot of criminal activity. There was a lot of violence. There was a lot of hypocrisy. You couldn't be in his cult. And you would, if you wanted to be in his cult, you would have to leave your quote earthly family. The documentary that I saw, this one guy talked about he has a lot of guilt and shame for the fact that he lost contact with his children. How was that productive? So, anyway, on Tuesday, I was saying that I had ran across this trailer from a documentary where his daughter was saying that she witnessed him um, summoning UFOs. And I told you all that I saw it once, and when I tried to look for it again, I couldn't find it. And lo and behold, I was at the gym earlier and I found it. So we're going to watch that. So let's do a little like introduction into who he is. And let me see, hold on. He was on the FBI most wanted list. He died in 2007 in Miami. Let's see what happened. And I should have read more about him earlier. He had prostate cancer. He was released on parole in 2001. He had been in trouble with the law in the 90s. He served 11 years and an 18-year sentence on the RICO Act, racketeering, which, side note, I thought that was the type of stuff that they were going to uncover with the whole Diddy trial, not a bunch of sexual stuff, but anyway. Um, he faced conviction only for conspiracy to murder. He was released on parole in 2009. 2009. When did he go to prison? Okay, so 1990 and 2001. He was released on parole in 2001. He returned to Miami, but his activities were restricted until a few months before his death. And in 2006, he became ill with prostate cancer. His attorney petitioned the U.S. District Court for his release from parole to permit him to die with dignity. He died on May 7th, 2007 at the age of 71. The location was not disclosed. Okay. So let's get into this video.
Leader claims to be the son of God, YahWeh Ben Yahweh, was arrested by the FBI in New Orleans, where he was on a speaking tour.
I remember standing in front of the TV, keeping in mind that he told me this day was going to happen. One day we were walking through the garden at the temple, and he said to me, he said, "Baby, they're coming after me." And I said, "What do you mean, Abba?" He said, "The feds, they're coming after me." This was months way before they actually came. And he said, I went upstairs into my room, and I held my hands up facing the east. And he said, and I said, "Yahweh must die." Because the scripture said that he could have freed himself at any time when he went to prison, and he couldn't. And he said, "Yahweh must die." And Yahweh said to him, "Yes, son, you got to do this. You're going to be falsely in prison." But still, it was just unbelievable seeing all of this unfold on national TV, seeing him being taken away that way, knowing he didn't deserve it.
So yeah, that's a little bit of a introduction. Do you believe that God would allow someone to suffer? Do you? Like, do you believe that you have to suffer like that, like being put in prison to suffer for the greater good? Do you believe that? That's an interesting question. So, okay, so let's get into this video of his daughter talking about him summoning UFOs.
Even though it may appear that he's not with us on this planet physically, I know that YahWeh Ben Yahweh yet exists. YahWeh Ben Yahweh is yet alive, no matter what anybody says. I'm going to tell you all about the night YahWeh Ben Yahweh was praying, and all of a sudden he started wailing like never before. And the building shook, and he said, "I want everybody to get up and go outside." You look up in the sky was just filled with UFOs. I kid you guys not. Only the mighty God could do something of that nature. The Bible says that all things must praise Yahweh, and all things must praise his son. You know, he's flying that mother plane. He's flying that mother UFO. Do your research, and it can be proven. Somebody's driving the mother UFO, and I would think that it was him.
Okay, so those lights right there that you saw, that was pretty much the guy that contacted me on Instagram. They look like they're very brilliant. They're very sparkly. But yeah, so we've been on here for 52 minutes. All right, night owls. Do we have any question? Everyone must have taken like a early 4th of July because y'all told me to come back here on Thursday at 9 o'clock. Where are y'all? But no, it's cool. I hope that when you do rewatch this, you enjoy it, let me know if you have any questions, comments, and I will see y'all on the next one. This was so fun. I'll try to come back Tuesday at 9 p.m. But yeah, see y'all later.